Fraser from Living Your Best Life at 60. And I'm here with my husband. We're actually at Lake Cachuma camping, and this is our first time out in our TrailManor this year. And I put together some notes, and I thought we'd talk about our experience with our TrailManor. I'm going to start it out. We love it, right?
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, we love it. But we wanted to talk about a few things that we've talked about ourselves. We bought this, and it was about $40,000, which is a lot of money, but we thought, you know what? We looked at storage for a trailer, and the trailers were, it was like $300 minimum to store a trailer, right?
A month.
A month.
Yeah.
So we decided that we wanted to get the largest thing we could that would fit inside our garage. We live in a track, so we have to, with the HOA, so we have to park it inside the garage. And we wanted to find something, the biggest something that we could fit in our garage. Actually, I did. I wanted to find the biggest. We did find out that even though the dimensions of the trailer would fit into our garage, we had some issues, right?
Yes. Basically getting it into the garage.
Yeah, so we found that we have a 4% pitch or a 4% grade in our driveway. So our driveway goes up. And so even though the TrailManor is 6 foot, I think 6 foot 8 inches, yeah, 6 foot 8 inches closed up, 6 foot 8 inches isn't enough for the clearance, because as the TrailManor goes up, so does the height clearance go up. And so our son is a physicist, and he put together a program which was super cool. And if I can find it, I'll add it to this video. That let us know, you know, this one would work. Another one, we actually were going to buy a smaller version, a used version, and it wouldn't work. So we were lucky that we didn't buy that based on the dimensions. So what ultimately happened is the dealership that we bought it from, he came out and he actually put one in our garage. And so we, at that night, we put ours on order, and 3 months later we got it. And what happened?
It scraped. Trying to get it into the garage. Not severe, but it was enough to
could have done damage, for sure.
Concern, yeah.
Yeah. There was no, well, we couldn't get it in with our truck. So we use a Tacoma, and there's no way we could pull it up our driveway with that. It would have scraped the whole bottom carry. So we stopped before we did any damage, and we went out and bought a trailer valet.
Yes, trailer valet.
Tell them about the trailer valet, how great that was.
Almost broke my hand. Getting it, you can move it easily on flat ground, which we found out, you know, in the street. I was able to move it, drag it. Everything was working fine. It's just, I don't know, the 4% grade was just too much for it as we were getting it up the driveway, and it kicked back. But the trailer valet has a brake, which it did stop it. It just did a number on my hand, didn't break it, just kind of kicked back a little bit, and like it has a crank on it, and that spun around a few times and hit my hand until the brake engaged. But that was a no-go. I wasn't going to try it again. Right.
And so our neighbor, it's kind of funny, he just bought a brand new truck, and I don't even know what it was. It was a big truck, and he helped us get it into.
Yeah, he had a trailer hitch on his.
And he put it into the garage.
And we noticed at that point there was no scraping. So what we did is I measured the distance from the ground to the top of his trailer hitch just to get an idea of what that was. And it was a 6-inch difference between ours. So we looked around. I think we went to, I think we went to Harbor Freight and Walmart. And I think it was Harbor Freight had one that the hitch was basically a 6-inch lift or drop.
And we flipped it.
Yeah, and that did the trick. We were able to hook up the TrailManor, back it into the garage. With the exception, there was a small scraping.
So, and it's small scraping, but if any of you have been the one that helps guide someone into the garage or guide them out, that scraping is so unnerving. I knew it wasn't doing any damage, but as you would come out and come down the driveway, it would scrape in the front, pick back up, and then the backside would scrape. And there are bars there made for that, but it was unnerving.
So we kind of thought of kind of what the angle was with the the driveway, that grade, and to keep it scraping in the back as we pulled out of the driveway. We put basically 80 pounds of weight in the bed of the truck, and that seemed to resolve it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no scraping at all, so it's great. But I mean, when we set up, he has to put on the one hitch, and then we pull it out, and then he switches out with the distribution hitch.
Yeah,
so
weight distribution
it is an extra step, but I have to tell you, it was kind of one of those things as a couple, we figured it out together, and we were so happy because honestly, we love this thing. Every time I walk into my garage, it makes me smile. My husband, not so much, because all his stuff's out there and it's a little bit of a maze now. One of the things that we write, okay, so we were talking about the cost of this, and
well, you should kind of say we considered alternatives, which you kind of briefly
we did,
but like an A-liner
yes,
is another option. You found the TrailManor online, and I think we did actually look at an A-liner.
We did
in Arizona,
and we probably would have bought it, except the bathroom was right in the middle of the room. So you're going to the bathroom, and and only 2 or 3 people can sleep in there. But I really don't want to be going to the bathroom in front of everybody. So that was a big deal. But anyway, I know I mentioned that we paid $40,000, around $40,000 for it, and we just kind of thought that would be it. And I'm not complaining. We're not unhappy, but you know, registration for the car is $480 a year. Still not a big deal. But this part we didn't know is that they recommend every year that you have an $800 tune-up. And so making sure that each piece of the puzzle comes together easily. And another thing is there's always nickel and dime things. So our first year, the battery went out. I mean, that was kind of crazy, but it totally went out. We never left anything on it, just it. So that was $200. And then what was the heating element that went out?
It was the anode rod in the water heater, which was kind of a surprise because we hardly actually used that. And what it was doing, the anode rod was throwing debris into the water system. So like the sink would clog periodically. The toilet as well with the water, not the toilet clogged, the water valve would get stuck with debris. So we've kind of moved past that.
Right.
And actually when we took it in for the last...
And we did pay for a tune-up.
So, yeah, he put in a filter for the toilet.
Yes.
But everything, well,
right.
As of now, it seems to be working fine.
So it's not, like I said, they're just things that you need to know when you're going into it. One thing that we do that does save money, we have 2 propane tanks. And when we bought it, he gave us a tour around, and he said, here's the heater, the air conditioning. The air conditioning does have a heating setting, but I've never used it. Well, I got to tell you, we have not used the heater except once to try to see if it works, because that heating element heats our trailer, and we pay for electricity already, when we get full hookup. So it's really basically free for us, and it works great. When you're looking at buying it, you have a lot of options. I wanted to mention, you definitely want to get the cupboards. That's an option, but it keeps the clutter off the counter. And then the front, this is the front, or it's really the back, but whichever, you can actually add a window there. Well, you have 2 windows there, and then you can see right behind us, there's other windows, and then there's windows in the back. So there's no need to have a window there. I actually like it better without it. So I think that was a $500 upgrade, and we opted no. So I like it better without it. So we've purchased a few things. We really haven't had to buy a lot of things. I know some people buy like shelves and stuff that go on the counters. I don't like a lot of stuff on my counters because I don't like clutter. So we did buy a thing for our TV. It hooks over the bathroom, which is really cool. So it gets the TV off the counter. And we did it. Buy a special antenna for that. You bought, what'd you buy for the outside water stuff?
Oh, an elbow. I got a brass 90-degree elbow. And really all that does is, if you didn't have it, you'd be hooking up basically a water hose to the side, for the city water. And I mean, obviously the hose can either kink, but I think just doing that puts a little too much strain on the fitting that goes into the TrailManor. So with a 90-degree elbow, the water line just basically almost runs up the side. You connect it. And I think it takes a little bit of the strain off of that fitting.
Yeah.
And works fine. I mean.
Then you bought something for the sewage pipe.
Oh yeah. It's an accordion, plastic accordion. I forget what it's called. But what that does is help. It's a flexible pipe. It helps keep the pipe as you're draining the black water and gray water from the TrailManor. Sometimes the hose will develop a sag, and you have to lift it multiple times. What this does is allow basically a linear shot. Keeps
a gross flow.
Yeah, keeps it straight going into the dumping station drain. So probably not a necessity, but definitely makes it easier.
A nicety.
Yeah.
And then what else did I write down? You have to have chocks for your tires, and I think that you have to buy those out the chute. One thing we didn't buy was the lifts when we first bought it for leveling. Yeah. And we did have some issues with leveling at some of the campgrounds that we went to.
For the scissor jacks, yeah, just because you'll find that, I mean, if you're lucky enough to get a camping spot that has a flat concrete slab, hey, great. You probably really don't need them, but more often than not, you don't have that luxury. Right. It's usually hard ground, and it isn't always level. But the pads help keep the scissor jacks from digging into the ground. It's more, to help it with the leveling, and it's definitely. I think you need it.
Yeah,
definitely need it.
And we bought like paper plates. I have this really cool pot and pan set that goes inside. The pots go inside each other. Another thing we purchased was a trailer hitch lock.
It's a pretty good accessory. It's pretty easy to use. It just slides on like a normal lock with a key.
And it keeps somebody from just hooking up and taking your trailer, right?
Right.
We have stuff that we keep in here permanently. Now that it's camping season for us, we keep like some of our toiletries in here so that we don't have to bring them every time. I keep a jacket in the closet. Pillows. We do take out our sheets. So I have a couple of sets of sheets in here, and I take one in and I wash them, and then we switch them out.
Rotate them.
Yeah, we rotate them. Issues. Okay, we have had a couple of hiccups, and the one thing I will say, as a couple, you just need to stay together as partners because things are going to happen. You have to have a sense of humor. You have to have patience and patience with yourself. You're going to make mistakes. It just happens. So one of the first rules that we were told, and I'm on a couple of groups on Facebook, is if your trailer won't open or if it won't close without difficulties, there's an issue. Something's obstructing it. There's something wrong. Well, we did check for obstructions, but we did push it down once and forcefully over the water elbow. And so that we were so panicked. I thought, oh my gosh, we've ruined this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
but we really didn't.
We were able to get it back up and realize that was the obstruction.
Made a little scratch in the back. It wasn't really a big deal. And in fact, it's in the back room, but you really can't even see it. So it was not a big deal. But that did happen. Then we were on a big road trip 1,000 miles away from home. And we're actually meeting people that are camping in our trailer with us, our son and his family. And we can't for the life of us shut this. I mean, we can't get it shut.
It was shut. It just would latch. The very last.
Yes. There was definitely something in the way. We opened it and shut it, and we looked and we did. So finally what we did is we called the dealership that we bought it, but they were closed. It must have been a Monday because he's closed on Mondays because I don't think it was a weekend.
It wasn't a weekend.
Yeah. And then I called TrailManor, and I will tell you this. I have to give those guys a standing ovation. They were on the phone with us for at least an hour. Mm-hmm. So they stayed with us till they figured it out. Now what happened was it was actually a manufacturing defect. The toilet we have is not a circulating toilet. It's a regular flush toilet, which is great. Mm-hmm. But it had an exhaust pipe. Well, the exhaust pipe was actually causing the obstruction.
You wouldn't have thought so. You would think that the pipe would collapse, or
break, but no. So they stayed with us on the phone until we got closed up and on the road. Mm-hmm. And so we did have to spend the rest of that trip with my husband climbing up and moving the pipe
over to close it.
We did get through it. We were super grateful. Uh-huh. So that was probably, as far as things happening, that was probably the worst thing that happened. And once it was over, because to be honest, we had to move. We were so far away from home, we didn't know what to do.
Right.
But we did figure it out. Okay, so this is one thing that this is a manufacturing problem. This turns into a table, and it's really cool. But
the table turns into a bed.
The table turns into a bed.
Yeah.
But it doesn't support much. I mean, if Brian and I laid on this, it would not. It'd probably break. So it needs more support. Our granddaughters, who weigh maybe 35 pounds each, slept on it. But we didn't allow them to stand in the middle because it just doesn't have that kind of support. So you need to put something underneath there. Not a big deal. What other thing? And that's actually all I wrote. We have slept 7 people in here. So in the back is a bigger bed. We usually, when it's just the 2 of us, we stay up here because the television's up here. I don't know, we like it up here. But it's great. There's so much room. You can see that you can stand up in here. Our son is 6 foot tall.
Yeah, well, it's nice. You come, well, obviously you have a place to sleep, watch TV, you have air conditioning, you have a heater, you're able to cook. I mean, it's really nice.
We love it. Well, we hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comments, and we'd be happy to answer them if you can.